Y'all already know what it is. Your boy Yaakov, what it do? The outlet to reality, the holdest podcast in Vegas and Chicago. What up? This is the place where you want to hide from your drama or maybe hide from your baby mama. Aha! Just kidding. Y si tú quieres cambiar tu vida, if you want to change your life, then subscribe. Ching! And by the way, guys, I just published a book out on Amazon. It's called Shabbat in Chicago. It's about an audacious single mom who opens her heart and home to five adopted kids while embracing her Latino culture while being Jewish. And today we have a very special guest. I consider him my brother. Not only that, he's one of the biggest filmmakers, the one and only Alex from Chicago.
Yo,
Woo!
yo. Hey, nice. Thank you for having me, brother. I'm really happy to see you and feel honored to be on your show, man. I appreciate it. Yeah.
Thank you, brother. It means a lot. I'm gonna be honest. I could tell things been going well for you because you got a nice chain. I don't know how to tell you. I was waiting for my shipping. I know I got the 2 day, but I didn't know when it was.
I might run it out. Now we could talk about that afterward. You know.
Thank you, brother. Thank you. Like I said, I got FedEx or UPS, whatever you choose.
All right. Make sure you got the bubble wrap in there. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I want it shiny and sparkling. Okay. But look, brother, I want to say something, man. For ladies and gentlemen, I want to share that this brother right here, I've known him for a while, and it's so cool because he gave me the opportunity to have a book event at Northeastern at the Pedroso Center, and it's more like for diversity, right? And it was Hispanic Heritage Month that month, and it was so nice because I've always wanted to do a book event in Chicago. I've done a few in Vegas, but not in Chicago. And the fact that you made it happen, brother, I want to thank you because we had a great outcome. It was like a full house, at least like 57 people that came through. And we had catering, tacos, taqueria, we doing good. We're making moves. And it was nice because the strategy we had was, do the presentation first and then have the food out. That way no one's interrupting, getting up and spilling the sauce on the floor and that's a distraction. I think your technique was smooth, so I want to give you a shout out, brother. That was amazing. But please, if you could share too, like what you remember from that event and like when we first met, if you could share that.
Yeah, for sure. So Yaakov, I was in my office at the Pedroso Center, which is the multicultural center of Northeastern Illinois University. So I was in my office, working hard, focused, locked in. And so he was visiting the space, and I heard him talking to the front desk staff. And I looked at him, and I was trying long story short, I went out. We talked a little bit. I'm like, man, I know who you are. You might not remember me, but I know who you are. And I think it'll be very valuable if you could share your story and your experience with our higher education students, with our college students, especially during, I think when we met more like in July, earlier in the year. And then I proposed maybe you presenting during our Hispanic Heritage Month, which is, September, October. And so we kept in contact, but I was really impressed that what you told me that you were in Vegas, because I remember you. So I've been with the university since 2013. And I remember back in the day when I started, I've heard about Yaakov and what he was doing. And he was doing a web series, a show that was all college students from Northeastern Illinois University, all Black and brown students, themes, topics revolving around college life. And at that time, I thought that was really unique. That had never been done before, at least at that university. So he was already a celebrity, a local celebrity, hood celebrity, as we call it. So seeing him back 10 years later and seeing his evolution and transformation was really impressive. So I felt like it was really valuable to get you back into the space and to share your story. And I was right. Like when in the actual book talk that we had in September 2004, I believe, or was it 3, 4? Anyway,
Yeah,
biggest turnout. Like it was, you kind of lowballed it. It was actually more than 70 people. The people were standing up. We didn't have enough seats. The capacity of the space is about 50, 40, 50 with food and stuff, but it surpassed that by far. Students loved you, man, and like students were engaged. There was a combination of current students, of alumni, people that known you for years, came out, from the past. It was a kind of reunion for me as well because I saw people that I hadn't seen in about 10 years as well. So that event really brought people together, and it gave hope to the youth, and not only the youth, but specifically that was a demographic there. So I was impressed by the fact that these students were just engaged and asking, like we had to cut it off at some point because they had so many questions for you. And you were just flowing. Now you were pretty much like riding the beat pretty well. I know this guy, he's got some style to him, but yeah. So I really appreciate that you went there and you touched a lot of people's lives. I think you sold a lot of books. People didn't want to let you go. Like we had to close up shop and people were hanging around still trying to get. So yeah, that was good. Yeah.
yeah. I want to thank you, man. Like, I said this to you last time, and I want to share again that it was amazing that how we had it so diverse, right? There was a lot of different group of people, coming together, and I haven't seen my dad for a long time. I think I told you this last time, and it was wild for him to show up, and I didn't invite him. We haven't talked for a while, and for him to be there and to see that, yo, my son's not a gang member, my son's not a drug dealer, he's not in prison, because that was the idea that he believed that I was. And for him to come and see that, yo, my son's not what I thought he was, I think it was a life lesson for him to realize, and he grown up, he's not the same old kid, and I think it was powerful because when he got to sign my book and he shows up, I said to him, he said, "Hey, I'm proud of you." And I said, "Thank you, Dad, for coming." When I said the word dad, he kind of took a step back, like, whoa. He wasn't expecting that. And I thought it was powerful because, at the end of the day, it's still your parent, right? It's still your
Right.
father. So you gotta give him that respect. And I wanted to share that, brother. Yeah, it was very powerful. And then I wanted to hear your thought about that little interaction. Now that you know the little insight about what happened between me and my dad, and then dive into your story in Chicago, because you and I we have a lot in common. I'm not gonna lie, as a brother, Latino brother to a Latino brother,
Right.
we're both fresh and we grew up in we've seen a lot of rough stuff.
Yeah. 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 I think that's a good transition because what you said about your dad. I think we all have these I guess images of ourselves. Either it's from our parents or from society or from other people, or sometimes it's just ourselves creating certain characters of who we think we are. Um, and that kind of brings me to my story. Like I grew up in the hood. I'm Latino, of course, Chicago born, Humboldt Park area. Family comes. I come from a family of gang affiliations, memberships, and stuff. And we had to leave Chicago because of some, you know, it got pretty hot and stuff. So I went to high school in Joliet, which is a working class kind of suburb of Chicago. Came back to the city. Um, Long story short, man, I fell in love with film. I've always been creative since I was a kid. All through high school, I was drawing, writing. I grew up with music. I've been playing percussion since I was 8 years old. But what really kind of like my turning point, or what really saved me from that life that we're all destined, a lot of people like you and I are destined to live as Latino males, or black males as well, people of color, working class, is the arts and hip hop in particular. I fell in love with, instead of going the route of that my family went on of gangbanging. I fell in love with breakdancing, hip hop, DJing, like graffiti, and that culture really sucked me in. And then I got into politics and stuff. And so by the time I went to college, I studied graphic design, mixed media. But during that time, I fell in love with cinema, with filmmaking, with the power of telling a story and creating a new world that the audience will commit to, and you have an effect to that. So I ended up going to film school in Paris, France, 2007 through 2009, and that really shaped me as an artist, because I was able to really accept the fact that that's what I am. But while I was growing up, I wasn't sure what I was, because I was working these jobs. I was the son of these parents. I was the friends of these people. So I had no identity. I was creating my identity as I went. But in France, I had no choice but to be an artist, because that's what I was there for. And if I failed as an artist, then, I failed. So, so I like that, because it put me in a situation where I had to be, I had no choice. And sometimes when you don't have a choice, you kind of succeed. You know what I mean? And I think people that come from the working class and stuff, where a lot of our resilience comes from the fact that we tell ourselves that we have no choice but to go through this or that challenge. And that's what makes us more resilient than people of privilege and stuff. So yeah, man. If that answers your question, after film school in France, I shot a few films that won some awards internationally. I came back, went to New York, did some cinematography, freelance work in New York. I felt like I didn't want to enter the television circuit and be just like a PA or peripheral kind of staff in television. So I came back to the Chi and focused on writing scripts. So I wrote a couple features. One of them, so I wrote two. It's based on and then if I may, can I talk about my feature now? Or?
Yeah. I want to ask you a real question before you get to your feature, because I mean, my boy went to Paris. I have to ask, man. I don't know. It's hard to get distracted. I heard the women they were fire. You know what I'm saying? So, do you remember any maybe any funny stories that happened to you in Paris, like whether it be at a party or, there's got to be a lot, because I mean that's a different world. I don't know how the life is there. I've never been there, but I'm curious to know your journey about Paris.
Oh man, it's a lot to talk about. It's 2 years, man. So it's like, and everything about it was kind of funny, because I mean that's just life. It's like kind of ironic that I was even there. But yeah, it's like you said, it was a different world. I consider it the old world, because I feel like America. Well, I know America is a new world technically. So Europe is definitely an old world, and it's a mix of contemporary and ancient and classic. You know what I mean? So being immersed in that environment really kind of broadened my lens in life. So yeah, I was in film school, and one of the funny things that happened was we were on a film shoot, and Paris is really tiny. It's a ton of people, but it's really small in size. So, and it's like more of a sphere, of a circle, as opposed to like grids in Chicago. And a lot of the streets there's like hills and stuff. A lot of the streets are kind of still the old like chariot based like cobblestone streets, and they're really narrow. So, and on this particular shoot, I was driving the van with the equipment, and we were behind. So I picked up equipment from the shop, and I was in the Montmartre neighborhood, which is kind of like the northern side. Um, and I got in a car accident. So
Oh,
people were calling me like, "Hey, bro, we need the equipment, man. We're behind. We got to shoot in 2 hours." Like, no importa quoi, c'est pas grave, on y va. So like, so the streets were pretty narrow, so I turned, and there was like a pole on the corner of the street, and the back pole like hit the side of the van, and I was stuck. And those, like I said, the streets are like one way instead of the tiny narrow streets, so I had a ton of traffic behind me just honking and just cursing and putana man, que she's fast. And I was like, so I literally, by the time, the emergency people came and stuff and got me out, it was bad. So that was, it was funny, but it was very stressful. But just putting myself in those situations, like being in the world that I never knew, like my French wasn't too good when I got there, so it took me months to really grasp the language too. Um, so I guess here's the message. The message is like put yourself in situations that force you to evolve. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Like put yourself in the fire, man. Like that's the only way you're gonna grow and shape into someone that you want to be.
Yeah.
So
That's interesting. I like that story. I'm gonna be honest. My mom. This is a funny story, but my mom, my dad had like this old saying. This is before I was born, before my time.
yeah,
I think I mentioned in the book too, in my book. But there's a time where my dad would teach the saying where you can don't let no one borrow your car. That was his old school saying. Your gun, your gun, your car, and your money. He was very. That was his old school thinking.
damn,
And my mom was like, she knew that from my dad, and she didn't care. And she's like, "Yo, Tia, can I borrow that car?" And she borrowed it right in Mexico, and that's all my dad's family. Her family's not there, but my mom was living there with my dad, so she borrowed the car, and she actually drove into a convenience store
oh man,
or a store, some random store. Luckily, it was closed, but
right.
man, that car got destroyed in there. And then my dad said, "Ya te dije, don't borrow the car.
Right,
Don't
right,
borrow from no one. 'Cause then you're responsible." He's like, "Now I gotta pay the money,
right,
pay my tia back for what happened." So it's a very interesting thing because it's scary, right? Like we want to help other people, right? But like you gotta be cautious. Like, do you are you willing to pay the repercussions, right? If
right.
something goes wrong or sideways, are you willing to pay it, right? It's a tough thing. It kind of leads me to the next thing. You're gonna like this. Before we get into your film, there's a thing about money, right? And in Judaism, we believe that if you borrow money from someone, the first time it's cool. It's cool. Like like let's say it's your Theo, right, or your uncle.
Right.
Like Theo, let me get some $10. All right, cool. Here you go, mijo. But ya pasó, right? Your uncle didn't pay you back. It's been 10 years. And you're like,
Damn.
he ain't pay me back. You see what I'm saying? So we learn is that you can't trust your uncle with money. You can't trust that person because they didn't pay you back, and they probably will never.
Right.
So in Judaism, actually, they came up with the collateral move. So basically, which nowadays a lot of businesses they use it now.
Hmm.
For example, let's say I borrow you $30,000 from you, okay?
Right.
And you're like, I don't know if they's gonna actually pay it back. I don't know this guy, but we signed a contract. He
Right.
gave me 30,000. So you
Make
as
it 40. Make it 40. Make it
make it
40.
40. Okay, let's do
Right.
40. And let's say as a collateral, you're gonna give me a Rolex that is the same amount of money of what I borrowed. So I'm giving you my Rolex because you gave me that money. So that way, if I don't pay you back ever, you have something to use to sell to get the
Mhm.
money that you never got. You see what I'm saying?
Right, right, yeah.
And it's smart. It's actually a smart way to make sure nobody kind of rips you off, right? But it
Mhm.
does say that if you have a family member that this is pretty cool. If you have a family member that kept, every time you let them borrow money and they never paid you back, you have two options. You can say no to them, like, nah, I can't give you money because I don't trust you. The last time you never paid me back, right?
Homie,
Yeah, yeah, you still owe me.
todavía me debes.
Yeah, todavía, you still. And mijo, de veras, I got you. She's like, for real, I got you. Yeah, yeah, But the thing is, you could say no. The second is, if you do decide to give her money, um, it has to come as a gift where you gave it to her, but you're not gonna get it back. So it's better you give it as a gift. Like, yeah, this is a present to you. You know what I'm
Right,
saying? There's a difference,
yeah.
right? You gotta be careful and cautious. But something I heard from this lady, this amazing thing. This lady told me a week ago. She said, you know, when you and this is somebody who's not Jewish, but I love the way she thought. She said, when you give money to someone and you're letting them borrow, you have to put in your brain you're never gonna get it back. I was like, dang. She said that's part of sacrifice. You're willing to give money to help someone in need, like my sister. She said, I gave it to my sister, and I'm in my brain. I put she's never gonna pay me back.
Right,
And if you have that and you're conscious, if they do get to the point where they don't pay you back, you're already prepared and you feel like you did your part as helping another person. That's what she said. Um, she said, luckily my sister did pay me back. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Took her like 3 weeks or 3 months, but she did it.
right.
But it's nice, but still, she's like, you should have the power when you give. Don't expect a return.
Hmm.
That's real giving. That's how she saw it. And I like that. That was a different perspective.
Yeah,
What do you think about that? I want to hear your thought. What you think about that, brother? What I just shared.
yeah, man. I like it too. I'm listening. It's important to apply like these, I guess, simple facts to like things in life, and you could apply that to everything. Like even your career. Like you have to invest, or you have to contribute a lot to a dream you have, not expecting to succeed always, but the fact that you're agreeing to give yourself to that goal or to that cause. Um, you just keep on doing it, not expecting an immediate return. I think that's powerful. You know what I mean? I usually don't let people borrow money because I don't really have much power to give, but I let you borrow my chain, but I need it back.
I like that. I like that. I wasn't expecting that. You know what I'm saying? No, but it's good. It's good. I think it's all about being like genuine, right? Being honest, and I like that, brother. I respect that. I also too think that we as people, we can a lot of time people fight over money, right?
Hmm.
And I think that could build some sort of rancor, right? Kind of like a grudge against them because they didn't pay me back. And it builds and builds and builds, and then you never trust them. And what happens is the family member, you guys don't talk anymore
Right.
because he did me wrong. He didn't pay me back, and I needed that. And you see it,
Yeah.
you get defensive. And I think we shouldn't be like that. We got to learn to let go because the moment we believe that money comes and goes and it's just a paper, you can't take it personal.
Right.
What's more important is the person next to you, that you can be there for them, and that life goes ups and down, but you gotta be willing to pick them up. I think that's more powerful. Being there for a brother or a sister, whoever. And but brother, I want to tell you something. So look, I know you wanted to share, and I think this is beautiful. How do you overcome this big film, right? I gotta give you props. You know, you wrote this script. If you could share us, what's this movie about? What gave you the idea, the courage to form this, right? And when can we expect this to come out? If you could share, spill the beans, maybe not the cheese, but I appreciate it.
I'll stick to the beans.
Yeah.
So the title of the film is Quotidian, which means it's actually quotidian is in English, but it's originally a Latin word. So in Spanish it's cotidiano, in French is quotidien. So it means everyday life. So I wrote it. I started writing it 2014, and it was a very personal piece because I consider myself like a political, socially conscious individual, and I do have a strong conviction that as humanity we do have hope for a better future, and I think being like a working class, like I do feel like the working class has a lot of power to really reshape society. And this film is really about that. Bottom line, it's kind of a call to arms to the masses and the working class to do what their destiny tells them, which is take control and reshape society in a better direction. So the main character is a Puerto Rican cat from Homo Park, which is a very working class, like historically marginalized neighborhood in Chicago. So when the movie starts, he's a very conservative, kind of isolated machinist. He was a worker. He works in the machine. He's a machinist, but he comes from a very dark past of crime and gang life and violence. But when the movie starts, he's already past that, and now he's the other extreme. He lives in fear. He just goes to work. He's got OCD. He doesn't have his love life isn't great. He's just kind of living in this trauma from his past, and he's just like kind of stuck. And he's been with this job for about 10 years, so he's had that stability. So the movie unravels as he loses his job, and he loses that stability, and the movie just develops as his struggle transformed him. And I don't want to spill the beans, but he becomes a working class hero at the end of the movie because society forces him to join the struggle, the social struggle, and he ends up becoming a hero throughout the movie. So that's Quotidian, and that's part of a 3-movie trilogy that I'm developing. I wrote the 2 feature. They're all the 3 features, and they're all based on the Chicago story, I call it, but based on 3 vantage points. So the first one is a Puerto Rican guy from Homo Park. The second one's going to be a Mexican immigrant, and the third part is going to be based on a Black American from the South Side. So I want those 3 stories to really tell tell the world what I see. Is the Chicago experience, and that's so I'm aiming to start production, or what I call development, in the fall of 2025, to move into the pre-production stages in 2026, and hopefully get it done by the end of 2026. So right now I'm finishing a short film titled Line of Ghosts, and that's going to be released in either May or June. We're in the final stages now. I'm really excited about that piece as well. It's a short surrealist piece about a CTA a Chicago Transit Authority bus driver who's stuck in a series of nightmares and he can't wake up from them. And that's a metaphoric of being a black male in Chicago that experiences like a nightmare that you can never wake. You're constantly waking up into a new nightmare. So that's kind of the metaphor behind that. So it's a very visual, surrealist journey. This short film. So I'm really excited to release that. I had a great team that helped me put that together. Great actors. Rochelle Holt is the main actor. Jaquisha Monique is the supporting actress, very talented. She's a musician as well and a model. Very talented people. My brother Eric Gonzalez, he was the cinematographer and he also composed the music for it. It was a great journey. So I'm keep an eye out for that as well. So yeah.
Thank you, brother. Thank you, man. I can't wait, man. That I'm not gonna lie. The trilogy too. I gotta see it, man. I can't wait, man. I'm gonna have my popcorn and my butter, and I get my Slurpee. I'll be
Yeah,
okay.
I'm gonna be casting soon, man. So if you want to audition.
Oh, thank you, bro. I'm too far, Frank. If it's a scene real quick, hey, pass him the soap. I got it right here, brother. You say. I got you, brother. I got you. Pues, well, maybe when I come to Chicago, if you need a scene real quick, your boy could come by. Hey, get on the way. You know what I'm saying? But look, man, it looks like Zoom about to kick us out. But like I said, I'm proud of you, brother. It's an honor to have you. Guys, this is the Outlet to Reality, the holdest podcast in Vegas and Chicago every Tuesday.
Yeah.
Don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe. Ching! Y'all know where to find me. I'm on Instagram, YouTube, Spotify, the Outlet to Reality. My Snapchat's Take One Pass It. My TikTok is at Yaakov28. And brother, where can my fans find you?
Quotidian Pictures and Instagram. Also, Quotidian Pictures is my YouTube channel, and also I share some art in A Gonzalez _arts, also on Instagram.